What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel here. We're moving right along with our Hail Caesar reviews, and we finally come back to the Romans here with the Marian Roman list that we get here. So basically a late Republic list. So basically roughly 1st century BC into the Empire and everything. So lots of things to search for if you're not already familiar. But, Marius, Sulla, Cimbrian War, Social War, Caesar himself, obviously, conquest of Gaul. And again, Warlord does have several expansions as well that you can use to sort of further this. So whether it's the conquest of Germania, getting into things like that, Caesar and Gaul and everything, I think is another one. And then we also have just the Age of Caesar. So there's plenty of things out there to expand there. Roman Civil Wars, Mithridatic War. So lots and lots of goodies here. So this list is a monster. This is a big old 2-pager here, which we don't get too many of in Hail Caesar, but and that's just to represent everything that you have access to with the Romans here. So there's a lot going on. So mainly infantry-based list, so 50% or more. Again, not including skirmishers. Cavalry could be up to a quarter of it, and then of your infantry, basically, it's going to have to be legionaries, being 50% or more of that. Interestingly, here the list can also include one elephant, just a single elephant, not like a group of elephants for a unit. And then artillery as well. So there must be at least 3 legionary units for every artillery unit fielded, and no more heavy or medium than light in total. So, which is pretty cool because before, with most lists, if we did have artillery, it was like limited to like X amount of units. But here it's just in proportion to your infantry. So the bigger the game, the more artillery you can field too. So that's pretty cool overall. So let's dive right in here, guys. So there's a lot, like I said, going on, a lot of things to consider. But again, the bulk of your list is going to be legionary units, so big blocks of infantry here. So legionary heavy infantry armed with pila and sword, so solid heavy infantry stat line here, 7s across the board, and 4 up morale. So again, very tough not to crack there. And then they're drilled with testudo as well for 32 points. And if we wanted to, we could upgrade to veterans for another 3 points, up to half of those units, which just with the overall quality already of the legionary units, you might as well find the points to upgrade as many to vets as you can, because I will add elite in there as well. And again, just will make everything run more smoothly for you. We could also, interestingly, downgrade half of them into raw recruits or imitation legionaries. So we've seen that before in some recent lists for a 5-point discount. And from there, if we wanted to even further go making some of them levies. So you could really field sort of all levels of experience and freshly raised troops just from that one base entry type here. So and really as you move down into the imitation and the levies, you're basically getting into pseudo medium infantry with some almost light infantry levels of ability there. But overall, just block and block of these legionaries and veterans and stuff like that will be just a good solid core for you. From there, interestingly, we can go Spanish-style light infantry, legionaries armed with pila and swords as well. So we have the combat ability of the heavy infantry unit, but with a light infantry morale save, essentially. But here, though, we get drilled, testudo, and stubborn, all for 31 points a unit. So in some ways a discount, but again, that 6+ morale save will be sort of the Achilles heel there. From that, then we go Thracian or Illyrian light infantry, armed with javelins and shields, just up to 3 units total here. About what you expect those types of units to do. So very light, can do a little bit of work. They're normal size units, and have a little bit of that, ability to harass things at close range with their javelins and so on. But again, not your frontline combat unit in that sense. From there, we can basically extra to field Thracians or Illyrians as mixed javelins and long spears for another 3 points a unit. Is that worth the cost there? That's debatable, and really just something that you're going to have to figure out with some play testing and seeing how that fits into your list. But then also we could pay a little bit more to upgrade the Thracians to the double-handed Romphia, which again bumps up the clash value a little bit and adds tough fighters. So that's a pretty good thing for 2 points there. So certainly worth trying a couple of those out, I think, or at least one of those if you're going to run up to any of those 3 units. From there, Spanish Scutari, medium infantry with spears. So just a very generic but solid medium infantry unit if you're running out of points or just want other things to fill in your list here. And then from there, we could also give them heavy javelins, basically counting as pila for 23 points. So pretty interesting there. Interestingly, I think they added basically an extra line for no reason here. But it's all the same. So stat wise here, so just medium infantry stat line, but the Pila one would be the last entry there. From there, interestingly as well, we get access to a Gallic or Galatian medium infantry warband, just the one unit with swords and javelins. We've seen that several times across other lists, but a big old warband, medium infantry stat line, but we get that nice clash value of 9 and wild fighters for 28 points. And being that one unit, it's a nice little thing to sort of break up the block after block of legionaries and something else to throw at the enemy that, again, they at least have to respect and deal with, because again, these things getting a charge off is pretty nasty in most cases, chucking those 9 dice, and then the wild fighters thing coming in as well. And as we move on, like I said, this is a very long list, so there's so many pieces to consider, but basically you can field just about anything you need to. Spanish Quechtradi light infantry with javelins as small units. So again, your typical small skirmisher type harassing unit there, but they're still light infantry, not true skirmishers. But next up, skirmishers with javelins as small units. So for 1 fewer point there. So again, having some sort of skirmisher screen is definitely worth considering, and you can get that in all kinds of quantity. We also get skirmishers with slings as small units, up to 3 units of those, worth taking just to get some long-range firepower in. And one of them could be Balearic slingers for 1 extra point, getting marksman, which you might as well just pay that 1 extra point. But a pretty good unit there. Then similar idea, we go with bow skirmishers, up to 3 there. Again, worth fielding if you want some of that long-range firepower. And then one of those could be Cretan archers as well. So again, paying 1 point for marksman, well worth the investment. And finally, then we get into some cavalry. So and you have just several different flavors here. So again, lots of good choices. German medium cavalry with spears and or javelins. So typical medium cavalry stat line, but we get tough fighters and stubborn, which is pretty cool, all for 30 points. At a slight discount, we get Gallic medium cavalry, same loadout basically, but just tough fighters for 28 points. And then finally, another sort of discount for 1 fewer point, Spanish medium cavalry with spears or javelins. So again, overall, not that much difference as far as it's the same stat line, but model-wise, certainly, obviously some differences there. But again, sort of the German cavalry there being the cream of the crop with the tough fighters and stubborn, and then moving on down. So it all really just depends on what you want to field there. Then Quechtradi light infantry with javelins fielded as small subunits of Spanish cavalry, 1 per Spanish medium cavalry unit. So again, just sort of a way to buff those. And then similar idea here, Spanish Thracian or Cappadocian light cavalry with javelins as small units. So these can just do their thing on their own, but again, very capable light cavalry unit. Nothing special about them though, but only 17 points on the other hand. And again, these types of light cavalry units, we've seen them over and over again. They can do a little bit of work in combat against similar light or weak type units, but they're not there for a war of attrition, certainly. So something to keep in mind when you do decide to engage in combat. Then also getting into some of the other conquered nations and peoples here, Numidian light cavalry with javelins as small units, so excellent here. So really some of the best of that particular unit type, 19 points there for feigned flight. So certainly would, I think, if you have the points to spare, run that as opposed to the Spanish version up above. Then Syrian light cavalry with bows as small unit. You only get 1, but again, it's just absolutely excellent. 21 points and feigned flight on a mobile archer unit, so good stuff there. But wait, there's more feigned flight. Arab camel mounted light cavalry with bows and javelins as a small unit, so just 1 of those for 20 points. Again, a little bit lesser ability there on the clash value, but again, they're there to deliver missiles and move around. So another good one to potentially consider if you want that. Now we get into the artillery. So light artillery scorpion bolt throwers, they're drilled, and if you wanted to, you could even mount them on a cart for 3 points. I don't think Warlord specifically makes the model for that, so you'd have to come up with something. But yeah, a mobile artillery piece could be pretty cool too.